Welcome. We are going to break down one of the most important and, let's be honest, sometimes intimidating concepts in programming, Big O notation. Stick with me, and by the end of this, you'll get exactly what it is, and more importantly, why it matters so much.
Okay, let's just dive right in. To really understand Big O, we need to start with one simple but really fundamental question. It's a question that every single developer has to think about when they write their code.
That's it. That's the whole game. The core problem we're trying to solve here isn't about how fast your code runs on your fancy machine right now. It's all about predicting how it's going to behave when the demands on it grow. Will it scale gracefully or will it fall apart?
And guess what? There's a formal name for this measurement, for this way of analyzing how our code's performance scales. It's called Big O notation.
So think of it less like a stopwatch. We're not measuring exact seconds here. It's more like a growth rating for your code. It's how we classify algorithms based on how they react when you throw more and more data at them.
All right, this is super important. We're measuring the rate of growth, not the literal time. And to be on the safe side, Big O focuses on the worst-case scenario. Why? Because that gives us a guarantee. We know that no matter what, the performance won't be worse than this, so we can plan for the maximum hit we might take.
Okay, enough with the abstract theory for a minute. Before we even peek at a line of code, let's make this stuff feel a bit more real. You know, the best way to build an intuition for Big O is with some simple, real-world analogies.
This right here, this is the gold standard. We call it constant time, or O of 1. An operation like this takes the same amount of time no matter what the input is. Think about it. Flipping a light switch is instant, whether you're in a tiny closet or a gigantic stadium. The size of the input, the room, is totally irrelevant.
Now, for this one, the time it takes grows in a straight line, directly with the number of items. If a teacher has 10 students, it takes 10 little units of time to check them all. If they have 100 students, it's going to take 100 units of time. The relationship is perfectly linear. This is exactly what happens in code when you have a loop that has to touch every single item in a list. This is where things get really efficient. It's called logarithmic time. You'd never read a dictionary from page 1, right? No way. You open it to the middle, you see if your word comes before or after that spot, and boom, you've just eliminated half the entire book in one single step. You just keep having the problem, which makes it incredibly fast, even for huge inputs.
And now for the scary one. This analogy shows how complexity can just explode. If you have 2 people in a room, that's 1 handshake. 3 people? That's 3 handshakes. But with just 10 people, it's 45 handshakes. The number of operations grows quadratically. It gets out of hand really, really fast.
All right, I think we have the intuition down now. So let's move on and see how this all connects to the 2 key technical things we measure when we talk about actual code: time and space.
This is the one you'll hear about most often. It's this speed side of Big O. But remember, we're not timing it with a watch. We're counting the number of basic steps or operations the algorithm has to do to finish its job as n, the input size, gets bigger.
Here's the most classic example you'll ever see. If you have a simple loop that runs n times, well, the number of operations is directly tied to n. If n is 10, it does about 10 things. If n is 1,000,000, it does 1,000,000 things. That's a textbook O of n, or linear time complexity.
But time isn't the only thing we care about. Memory is just as precious. And that's where space complexity comes in. It measures the memory cost of your algorithm. We're basically asking, as the input gets bigger, does my code need to grab more and more RAM?
This one makes perfect sense when you think about it. If your code needs to create a new list or a new array to hold n different items, then the memory it needs is obviously going to grow right along with n. On the flip side, if your algorithm can do its work without creating huge new data structures, its space complexity is often O of 1, or constant, and that is incredibly memory efficient.
Okay, this slide is basically your cheat sheet. You're going to want to save this one. It ranks all the common complexities from the best, the fastest, at the top, to the worst at the bottom. As a developer, your goal is almost always to stay as close to the top of this list as you can. You can see the stuff we talked about, like binary search, and even more advanced ones like merge sort, which is a really clever way to sort things without falling into that slow nested loop trap.
So why does all this matter? I mean, really, why go through all this trouble? Well, beyond just writing better code, it's about how you talk about your work like a professional. And nowhere is that more important than in a technical interview.
Imagine you're in an interview. You solve the problem, and the interviewer asks you to explain it. Just saying, "My code works," well, that doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence. Sure, it works for the one example they gave you, but is it efficient? Does it scale? It leaves all the important questions totally unanswered.
Now that is a professional answer. See the difference? That single sentence proves you have a much deeper understanding of the fundamentals. It tells the interviewer that you're not just throwing code at a wall to see what sticks, you're actually engineering a solution with performance in mind.
If you walk away with just one thing today, let it be this. Big O is about measuring growth. Time complexity is all about the growth of operations or its speed. And space complexity is about the growth of memory usage. That's the whole idea, right there, in a nutshell.
And that's our whole explainer on Big O notation. It's the language that we use to talk about how efficient our code is. So now, I want you to take this knowledge, go look at some of the code you've written recently, and ask yourself that exact question. Thanks for tuning in.